Hey guys, Jordan Connect here for another episode of Embrace the Chase. And I'm excited because today is episode 36, and we have Darlene Lopez on, who is an absolute monster when it comes to fitness. She's incredible. She's blowing it up on Facebook. She's actually the founder of SheIsInspiring.com, as well as the creator of the Stay on Track Challenge. So I'm really excited to have her on. You guys are in for a treat today. Darlene, is there anything you'd like to add to that, ma'am?
No, you covered it.
I love it. Perfect. Perfect. So, if you could just kind of start us from the very beginning, can you tell us your whole story? What led you into the entrepreneurship and what got you into fitness?
Well, as far as entrepreneurship, those are like two separate things, fitness and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has always pretty much been in my blood. I mean, from the time that I was a little girl, my grandmother actually was an entrepreneur herself, not in the conventional sense that you and I know today, but she is was a single children, and she actually had polio. So she grew up without the use of her legs since she was a little girl, since the time she was 2 years old. Of course, being born during the time of the Great Depression, she contracted polio and grew up without the full functioning of her legs, and having to raise 7 children all on her own, she managed to use her upper body to create, make things, and to make a living in that way. She would make burritos, tamales, she would sew and knit, and she would have yard sales. I remember just growing up as a little girl, taking grandma my old clothes and my old shoes, and she would polish them up and iron them, and she would hang them really pretty. And she had her own store, and our whole family was just used to my grandma hustling, and that was just the way of life and how we grew up. So I think the entrepreneurship spirit has been kind of ingrained in me because I grew up watching her and then watching my uncle start his own business. And so that's just been something that's been ingrained in me. So I've always had that entrepreneurship spirit. I was always selling something or another to church friends and just create. I just always loved to create. It's always been a passion of mine. And I'm just that way. No matter what it is that I'm doing, I throw myself full force into it and, figure out a way to make a living out of it. So that's the entrepreneurship side. As far as the fitness side is concerned, I've always been into health and wellness. Like I said, I learned that from my grandmother, her having polio. She's always been a big advocate of natural health, holistic medicine. So from the time I was, a little girl, we were out there picking certain herbs, and she was teaching us the medicinal benefits of those. So grew up as an herbalist and learning how to extract medicine from herbs, and learned how to just naturally care for our bodies. So I've always been very health conscious and health aware, but it wasn't until the birth of my twins, which was 9 years ago, that I noticed a drastic change in my health. I had gained about 50 excess plus pounds of weight from after having them. And I kind of just thought, this is just baby weight. This is twins. I had twins, so kind of thought that was just my body. I've always been this really petite thing, but after my twins, I went from like a size 2 all the way up to like a size 14. I had like 50 plus pounds. I was always really exhausted and tired, and I just thought it was just baby weight. I was just like, it's just baby weight. It's just baby weight. And you know, um, gradually over time, you really don't notice. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this, where you really don't notice that you put on weight. You don't notice
True.
you put on weight. You kind of just like get used to the new you, and you just kind of get used to wearing a bigger size. And it wasn't until I began to recognize things in pictures, and I was like, holy moly, like I'm kind of big. Like, and I was like,
So true.
I was just like, dang, I'm big. Like, there was so many other things going on as well during my health during that time. I was having massive mood swings. My hormones were completely out of balance. I was not able to digest food properly. My hair was falling out. I was so tired. And, my children, I homeschool all my children. And so at that time, I was very unable to even function homeschooling them. And I just thought it was just that season of life. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of 5 small children. Um, Under the age of 5. I had 5 kids under the age of 5. And I just thought, this is just life right now. This is just my season of life. And, I found tons of women feel that way. They just think, you know what? This is just my season of life. I have kids and I'm busy, and this is just the new normal on how I feel. Or, you know what? This is just that time of age right now where I'm just exhausted all the time because I'm a mom. So I just kind of thought that. And um, at the time, I began to kind of start losing close friends, and my relationship started to take a toll on close relatives and friends, um, because my hormones, and like I said, my hormones were out of balance, which I didn't know, but my mental state began to take a toll. I began to have extreme anxiety, depression, and all sorts of things were happening, and my health was just spiraling out of control. Finally, my husband at the time was like, "You really need to go see a doctor because something's going on." Went to see a doctor. Long story short, found out that I had an autoimmune disease that I didn't know about. I had an autoimmune disease that led to hypothyroidism, which is a form of Hashimoto's, and was not able to properly digest grains and or certain vegetables. And long story, doctor put me on medication that only made my symptoms worse, not better. Um, Fast forward a year, and during that whole time, I was just trying to manage the symptoms. I was taking holistic things, trying to incorporate my herbalist knowledge along with my natural food, organic eating, all of that. I was that crunchy mom. I was like all strung out. Like everything was non-GMO, all organic, and I did everything I could to control my health and to manage this disease that I had. And it just, nothing I was doing was working. And I felt out of control. I felt out of control in my health. I felt out of control in my marriage, out of control in my relationship with my kids and my friends. Everything was just out of control because nothing what I was doing was working. The medication wasn't working. Nothing was working. Um, in 4 years ago, so when was that? That was 1764, 2014. My grandmother got really, really sick. And, the thing with my grandmother, she helped raise me after the passing of my mother. So my grandmother helped raise me, and she was, she and I were very, very close. When my grandmother was really ill, one of the things that I helped care for her on her deathbed. And one of the things that my grandmother would always tell me was, so growing up, my grandma would always ask, "Darlene, tell me what it feels like to use your legs." So that was like one of her questions that she always had. And how do you explain that to somebody who, no, it's like trying to explain color to a blind person. So I would sit there and try to explain the sensation of running and dancing and skipping because she would ask. And so during the time that she was on her deathbed and lying there, she had told me, Lena, which was my nickname. She was like, I'm finally gonna get my legs, and I'm gonna get my legs, and I'm gonna dance, and I'm gonna jump. And she says, I want you to always use your legs. She's like, mija, which is daughter in Spanish. Like, you have your legs. You have good, strong legs. Use them. Go use your legs. And I told her, I will, Grandma, I promise. I promise I'll use my legs every single day. So during that time when she was on her deathbed, it was like a 2 month, process of us caring for her. My aunt and I decided to use the gym as an outlet, as a stress reliever. And honestly, we just went to the gym for the sauna and the hot tub. We didn't even go to work out. We just went for therapy. Like, we're just gonna go sit in the hot tub and sit in the sauna. Like, that is why we went. We were like, man, this is a free spa, ticket for. We started going for that reason alone. And each day that kind of progressed to us, hey, you know what? Let's get on the treadmill. And we started walking on the treadmill, talking, grieving. We were grieving as my grandmother was passing. And we would go every single day at 4 o'clock in the morning. My aunt would come pick me up, and we would go. And we would walk the treadmill and then hit the sauna and hot tub. And then it progressed to 30 minutes to 45 to an hour. And we hit the stairs, and then we started to I'm like, maybe we should try using those machines over there. Like, we didn't know what they did. We were just like, let's just go do it. And it just became that daily escape, I guess, from all that was spinning out of control in my own life. And things around me in my marriage, my children, my own disease, my grandmother. And so it became that for me. After my grandmother passed, I continued to use it as an escape. And I began to start noticing, just changes. I began to lose weight. I began to have more energy, and I began to feel a little bit better. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm kind of losing weight here. Whoa, like what I've been trying to do for, all this other time with herbs and supplements and all these other things weren't working, but holy moly, this is working. So, I had dropped like my first 20 pounds, and I was like super excited. And then I began to just throw myself into research of that. I began to study, and I began to pick the brains of every person in there that I admired of their physique. And I would ask them, what are you doing? What is your diet like? What do you do? How do you do that? How do you get this arm to look this way? How do you get this shoulder? And I began to just pick everybody's brains. And I actually still have journals. I have like 3 or 4 journals, because I would write down exactly what they said and what they would do. Then I would come home and start following people online and just doing all of that. And long story short, ended up getting certified last year, actually. People started asking me, like, are you ever going to like compete and do a show? And I had no clue what they even meant. But I started meeting people who competed, and I was like, hey. And a friend challenged me because I was kind of her support when she was competing. And I was coaching her, not indirectly, but being a good support for her. And then she one day just told me, you don't know what it's like because you've never done it. And so that challenging me, I was like, well, you're right. I guess I should do one. And so last year, November, I competed in my first fitness show. And then I set a goal for myself that I wanted to do each organization of the fitness competitions. There's different organizations, and there's 3 major organizations. And I said, over the next 3 years, I want to do a competition over the next 3 years, and do one for each of those organizations. So that way, eventually, maybe one day, I could be a support for other women who have competed or who are wanting to compete. Well, what was to be a 3-year goal ended up being a 1-year goal. And I ended up competing in all 3 of those competitions in the past year. And then just ended up launching my own brand. The brand, as She Is Inspiring, has always been there since 2014. I would just hashtag, She Inspires, and people were just like, you're so inspiring. So then that just became my little hashtag, like She Inspires. Well, once I officially got my certifications and all of those things, I just ended up launching. People were like, are you coaching? Can you write me a meal plan? Can you do a workout plan? And so, yeah, so that's my story, and that's how we got started. I officially launched the She Is Inspiring brand in 2014. And I found that all of my community, or my supporters, or just people, are all online. So created that online community for women to come together to, and I mainly market to stay-at-home moms, like the type of women that I am. I was a stay-at-home mom. I'm still, work from home mom. And I find that a lot of women are in the same situation that I'm in, where they feel out of control. They can't manage their time. They feel just everywhere, overwhelmed with time and life and all of that. And so I've created this online community where women can come together and they can learn from one another, and they can learn to manage their time. They can be inspired by each other and find empowerment with one another's story, and find different tools that will work for them. And they can begin to live intentionally each day with a weekly meal plan, a workout plan, and community involvement. Because I often find that, in which I found in my own life, just so much isolation when it comes to being a stay-at-home mom and being a woman in general. We just tend to isolate ourselves because we have this underlining what does she think of me? Is she judging me? And there's this underlying judgment going on. So that's where we're at right now. And I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited for so many. So yeah, I think I probably went on for a long time there.
No, you're good. I love it. That was awesome. Thank you so much for telling your story. And your content is amazing. I absolutely love it. But I do have a couple of follow-up questions from that. So what would you say is the biggest mistake? And I know your niche is mainly women, but I guess you can make it generalized that people make when they're trying to live a healthier lifestyle and lose weight.
I think the biggest mistake that I made, and I find that a lot of people make, is that they try to accomplish everything at once. They often look at and they think, and I think that intimidates them because they're like, okay, I want to get fit or I want to get healthy. So that means I need to give up all the sugar. I need to give up all the drinking. I need to give up all the partying. I need to give up all the pizza. And they feel overwhelmed because they feel like they have to do everything all at once. When it's no, it's a process and it's progressive. It's not something you have to do all overnight. And I think that's that expectation that they feel. And I feel that that's the biggest mistake that sets them up for failure, and the biggest mistake that set me up for failure. When I really started to get serious about nutrition and workouts, I was like reading what everybody was doing, and I'm like, man, I got to start doing that. I got to start eating salmon now to look like that. Oh man, I got to give up meat. I got to give up protein. I got to give up this and this. And it became overwhelming. So yeah, they don't keep it simple.
So when it comes to working out consistently, for someone who's just starting, I know you probably go over a lot of the stuff in your group, but what would you recommend? You know, like you just said perfectly that you used to just walk on the treadmill for 15, 20 minutes.
Right. So,
In this question is there's a lot of friends near and dear to me, especially my family. My mom has an autoimmune disease, and she's struggling with, you know, what type of workouts can I do and not push her body too hard.
right. So that is the thing, is that a lot of people, what I would recommend is to learn to be in tune with your own body and to be self-aware. Like I can sit here and tell you, go walk on a treadmill. However, what if walking on a treadmill hurts your knees? And so that's going to be practical advice for you. So I would say start where you are. If that means just walking around your house because you're a homebody and you never get up out of your seat because you're always glued to the TV, then get up. You know, like even now while we're just sitting here, you know, I'm going to just get up and I'm going to just do squats. You know, I'm actually I'm standing here doing squats. You know, at least that is some sort of physical activity. It's, hey, you know what? I'm going to go outside and I'm going to go for a walk. Just walk outside to your mailbox and back. Anything just to get your body moving, because like that law says, you know, an object in motion stays in motion, an object at rest stays at rest. So the longer you just continue to stay at rest and do nothing, then that's what your body is going to continue to do. But once you get your body moving, then your body is going to get used to that. So it can be as simple as, you know, me sitting here and geez, I'm just gonna grab my water bottle and I'm gonna just do some curls, you know? I mean, something practical and simple. You don't have to have a gym membership. You don't have to go spend money on a personal trainer. It's very simple. Yeah, so I would say just start where you are. Start small. Small, like getting up out of the chair and doing 10 body weight squats.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to kind of pivot now and talk kind of about your current projects and any future projects you have going into 2018. So can you kind of explain to everybody the low barrier of entry that you have into your really want your help with personal training, whether it's meal prep or anything that are at a distance, how can they reach out to you?
So right now I do have the subscription site where they can actually take our Stay on Track challenge for free, 14 days. They can get access to weekly meal plan, a weekly workout plan, and the workout plans both accommodate for gym and or at home. With that, they also get weekly affirmation, so that way it helps to empower their mind. And they also get weekly homework in the sense to allow them to have community involvement. So they have a homework, a challenge of, hey, you know what, reach out to your neighbor, reach out to, you know, somebody in need, or call another mom along to join you. So there's that aspect where they can get, like I said, the 14-day trial for that. And then I also have the one-on-one customized nutrition and customized workouts. So if somebody wants to take that challenge to the next level and they want to challenge themselves a little bit more, so yeah, I offer the one-on-one customized meal plans and workout plans. And so that's what I'm offering right now, and what our project is right now. And then, like I said, we have access to, when you do join the site, we do have a private Facebook group page for all the members. And that is where they can, mingle with other women and find other women in their community and work out together. Like I have 2 gals now who actually Skype one another and do workouts through Skype. So yeah, cool that they connected in the group and are doing that right now. So it's kind of awesome.
That's awesome. So then going into 2018, you just announced something on Facebook that pumps me up, and I'm not even a girl, so I'm not allowed to go. But you're having a conference in 2018. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I am super excited about this because you know what? Like this whole conference has been like a huge vision of mine that that I actually just had visions, bits and pieces, for like I don't even know how long. I want to say like many years. I mean, it's interesting, and then just all the pieces come together, and um, yeah. So what I'm actually doing for the She is Inspiring conference, I want to expand these actually each state, but I'm starting here in my own home state, here in New Mexico. What I am doing is I am collaborating with the best of the best women here in New Mexico, the best, providing resources, providing education, providing speakers and vendors and a lunch. So we're going to start, it's a huge conference. It's just a huge conference and expo for women where they can come, women from all backgrounds, women who maybe want to know more about yoga, want to know more about running, marathons. I personally know absolutely nothing about marathons and the training and all that's involved in that. But I'm going to have speakers there who are experts in that and who do that and who can share their story and why they do that. And women, there's going to be stories on nutrition, on fitness. It's just a whole conference on women are just going to just have access to so much. I'm just so excited because there's just this big room full of everything that women could want in the fitness realm, in the health realm. And they're not only going to be inspired physically, they'll be inspired mentally. And we're going to have like just so many speaker. I'm just so excited. Like it's just so awesome. I'm also partnering with a nonprofit with that. So this is actually going to be a nonprofit side of our business that we're doing. And the proceeds are going to benefit another local nonprofit organization that reaches out to young women who want to revamp their life and just start their lives all over. So they provide like not a business fund, but they help them to interview for jobs. They help them get a resume. They help them have proper wardrobe and help them get back on their feet. So that's what this nonprofit does. It's called the Zoe Project. And then our nonprofit, part of She is Inspiring, will actually be creating fitness inside of our local women's jails here. So the jails here, we're going to have yoga for them and have a fitness class for them. So yeah, so I'm super excited about that. So that's coming up, and yeah, that's just amazing because so many things are just happening and all these things are just coming together for that. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, like whoa, how did all this happen? So that's like really really exciting.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I love you. But quick follow-up question then. Is this a weekend conference, a one-day conference? And roughly when do you think it'll be in 2018?
So I'm actually looking at late spring, and it's going to be a one-day, all-day conference. So we're looking at it beginning at 8 a.m., ending around 5 p.m. because we're going to have, like I said, we'll have lunch will be provided. We'll have speakers. We're going to have a breakout session where people can tap into a mini fitness class and a mini yoga session and be able to shop the vendors that will be there. So yeah, it's going to be all.
That's awesome. I'm pumped up for you.
I know. I'm so excited for that. Yeah.
Well, I want to respect your time tonight, so I'm going to ask you the last question I ask everybody on the show, and that is there anything that's on your heart or on your mind right now, Darlene, that you'd like people to know either about you or a specific cause?
You know what? So I mean, I know I posted this on my Facebook that I just recently lost somebody that was very close to me this week. My sister's father-in-law passed away, and this was just on my heart and on my mind, um, and what was on my heart and on my mind was that I was watching as this man was being laid to rest and his family and everybody gathered around and hearing his own life. he actually, there was a time in his life when he was homeless, and he used to collect pieces of bread that he would find in restaurants, because they would cut off the end of the bread, and he used to carry a little sack, and he'd put that end of the bread in his sack. And I don't know why, but that visual for me, having this little, they handed those out at the funeral, but this visual to me helped me right now in my own life to never, to always be thankful and to be humble for even the ends, like the end piece of bread. And I think for us as entrepreneurs, sometimes we only have ends, of the bread, like of our vision. It's just like, we just have that little piece of the end bread, like, but I want the whole loaf, I want the whole loaf. But being grateful for just that small little bit. And later on in his life, like he was a hard worker, and he taught his children to be hardworking, and just so much to be thankful for in that. So I think that's just on my heart right now, is just being thankful for where we are at in our journey, whether it's, no matter what our health and where we're at in our life right now, in our health and our fitness and our life, that there's always just something to be thankful for. And so yeah, so that's where I'm at. Thank
Wow,
you.
that's
Thank you.
powerful. That's really
Yes.
cool. Well, thank you so much, Darlene, for being on. I really appreciate your time. I know everyone really appreciated your content. Those of you watching live right now, or if you're watching on replay, guys live, I'm going to link these descriptions down below afterwards. Those of you on the replay, please reach out to Darlene, whether you want some personal training, some advice from her, or if you just want to join the community and take her 14-day challenge, please, please, please do it. But Darlene, thank you so much for being on. I'd love to have you on again.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And perfect.